Welcome to Lobotomy Corporation. Here your role is that of a manager, overseeing your employees known as clerks and nuggets, in an underground facility designed to generate energy. Along the way you'll be guided by a seemingly friendly, yet incredibly egotistical AI assistant called Angela, who was born from one of the wings of the world, meaning she's the best of the best. You need to work with these horrific monstrosities called Abnormalities that produce energy in the form of enkephalin. The energy requirements of the modern populace is far beyond what is capable by ordinary means, and so this is our alternative. You don't need to know what they are and where they came from, but know that working with them is incredibly dangerous and many employees will die along the way. For the best success you need to work with these abnormalities a lot, slowly learning more about them and how best to work with them. Good luck, manager.
Act 1. Orientation. Day 1. Angela introduces herself, referring to me only as X. Before I begin my first shift, I get the option to learn more about a company or about Angela. As a model employee eager to succeed, I choose the company. I learn that the facility is enormous and divided into different sections, each run by its own AI Sephirot, though none are as capable as Angela, according to her that is. Then suddenly, an interruption. The sounds of rushed footsteps behind me. It's Malkuth, the AI in charge of the control team, only 1 minute late and overly enthusiastic. Angela reminds her to keep things brief. Apparently she's not in a good mood today, if AI can even have moods. Then I'm handed a box. Inside is my first abnormality, 1 sin and hundreds of good deeds. Thankfully it's harmless and prefers attachment work. Day 1 ends with all employees alive. A miracle. Day 2. This morning Angela greets me with a strange question. Which part of the company motto do I prefer? Face the fear? Build the future? I choose face the fear. She tells me that we are the first humans to discover the essence of abnormalities, that we are pioneers. But something is off about her questions. There's no small talk, no getting to know each other, just questions that make me feel like I'm being tested. Maybe it's because she's AI. We expand the control team. With 2 abnormalities now, I hire another employee. Our new abnormality is an old lady who prefers attachment work, and she's also our first 10th level threat, though still relatively tame. As we gather more enkephalin, we also gain spare boxes to craft ego gear, armour and weapons derived from abnormalities, helping our employees take less damage while performing work and aiding in a resistance and suppression if and when any break loose from their confinements. Day 3. We're greeted once more by Angela, this time with a cryptic musing on a number 3, genies and magic. Then she says she can't grant wishes. That's great, but I didn't ask. So it turns out this is her weird way of asking, what would I wish for? Being the model employee, I want the company to prosper. She responds by telling me that I'll witness things that can't be seen, feel things that can't be felt, and do the impossible. Confused by this, I just say it all sounds comforting. Time for a control team meeting for the day, in which we're actually joined by Angela. She asks me if I know what it means to resign an employee. She tries to soften the blow with a metaphor, likening employees to stage actors, and if they refuse to perform, they have no purpose, and they are terminated. That is what it means to be resigned. Malkuth takes over the conversation, saying how she was rooting for us, before asking if we've seen anything creepier than abnormalities. If not, we're informed they will wander the facility, and they are unable to be contained. We should expect to see them manifesting in corridors. Just what I needed. New day, new abnormality. A cute little dog that only likes instinct work. Anything else turns him rabid. Thankfully no one died just yet, and we're learning more and more as we go. Ain't that right, little Popaday? Day 4. Angela asks if I take pride in my work. After all, energy output is increased by 13% since I arrived. Record breaking, she adds. In fear of being fed to the abnormalities, we say yeah, we can take pride in that, before having a nice toast with some champagne. Though not to celebrate the energy increase, but the fact that we lost our first employee. We knew we were going to lose several people along the way, so maybe this is the best way to desensitize early. Meeting time. Malkuth says I performed flawlessly. She says despite being an AI assistant, she has a terrible time remembering things, and so she keeps notes to remind herself of tasks. Angela chimes in, adding another report on top of her list, and reminding us, once again, how exceptional she is. We get a new abnormality, but one that only allows use work. So off you go, little nugget, you'll be fine. Oh, No you won't. Apart from the Iron Maiden, the day went fine. Quota met. Day 5. Today, Angela begins talking about A, the founder of the company. Then asks how my day was. A normal question. Progress? No. She cuts me off, sparing the pleasantries, as she describes it. She then asks about my past. All memories I have lead to bleak options, so I give the most upbeat answer that came to mind. It was a normal life. She then likens me to a seed, saying a normal life is an achievement by today's standards. No new abnormalities today, just a quiet, efficient shift. Day 6. Angela tells me employees may try to talk to me, and unfortunately there's no system in place to stop us. Just say good job and move on. Got it, I suppose. We finally get to visit another department today. While I enjoy our meetings with Malkuth, there's more to this company to see, and so we unlock the information team, and I hire a full squad to help run it. New abnormality, a vending machine surrounded by strange orange figures. It seems harmless, yet I vaguely remember somewhere deep in my mind that this vending machine can be deadly. But today nothing happens, thankfully. Day 7. This morning Angela and I talked more about A. She tells us that he's a visionary, a farmer who sowed seeds on virgin soil, and apparently, in time, he might want to meet us in person. How exciting, or nerve-wracking. Only time would tell. For now, we get to meet Yesod, the information team's head. First impressions? He hates my outfit. Hypocritical considering he wears a turtleneck so high it could double down as a hazmat suit. While explaining what his department does, he changes the subject to his own outfit, stating he has an aversion to exposing any part of his body. Now I feel a little bad for calling it a turtleneck, but only a little. Netzach approaches, requesting supplies which Yesod refuses, as it's against company policy. Netzach replies, calling him a viper before leaving, though Yesod seems to take delight in being called that, asking us if we think it's a good nickname. New abnormality, a grotesque, four-legged abomination. Thankfully I'm not the one being sent in a containment unit, so good luck. We get through the day without any fatalities. You've pressed it numerous times and still have something you want to know about it. That sounds interesting. Day 8. Once again, we wait to Angela playing 20 questions, asking what I would do if an employee faced certain death. I say keep working, for the good of the company. While I would love to save the employee, I said what I thought was the right answer, what I thought she wanted to hear. It turns out though, I'm wrong. I should have made sure it never happened in the first place. This morning's meeting was again with the information team, and Yesod gives us a mission after telling us he was impressed with us. Hod interrupts, urging him to hold a speech for the fallen employees, though he refuses, before asking us to take sides. And I side with Hod, but Yesod is not pleased. So, what's in the box? Oh, I see. Death. Death is in the box. Okay, let's never press that again. Besides the box of death, nothing eventful to report for day 8. Day 9. More questions. Angela gives us a random letter quiz. I pick C. Apparently that means I value the process over the result. Not really true, but okay. This little game is apparently a new pastime among the employees, though Angela finds it rather uninteresting. Though it must have been at least a little bit interesting to her, that made her ponder what it'd be like to be a human. No Sephirot meetings today, just a new tool, more slugs, and business as usual. While sadly our employees have not quite gotten strong enough to push back against these ordeals, it does give us more time to spend with abnormalities, learning about their preferences, their names, their quirks, and how to avoid being murdered by them. Though it takes some time to read through the managerial guidelines and learn what damage type they deal, it does increase our odds of survival. Baby steps. Day 10. Blood, gore, corpses. A hyper-realistic Angela is staring at me. Then everything resets. She says it was a cognition filter malfunction. She changes how we see things, she says. That explains why my employees look so cute, but why do the abnormalities look so terrifying? Then I wonder, maybe I just saw the truth. Maybe I wasn't supposed to. We resume work. The mysterious box turns into a teddy bear. Surely it's safe now. Nope. Another death, another redo. Welcome to Lobotomy Corporation. Act 2. The Cracks. Day 11. Today begins a new chapter. Stronger abnormalities, ordeals become more frequent and deadly. The Sephirot, once cold but composed, start to crack under pressure. and I start receiving strange messages from someone calling themselves B. B claims to be an insider. They won't reveal their identity, but say the company is hiding 3 major truths. When asked if I'm satisfied with my work here, I say yes, mostly out of fear. B seems disappointed but moves on. They say our time is short. The information team is now fully expanded, and I get the choice to unlock either the safety team or the training team. Netzach or Hod, 2 Sephirot I'd seen before. Training seems more essential at the moment, so I go with Hod. Curious, I click on the box before the day begins. Bad idea. System crash, but on reboot, I see its name. Don't touch me. Noted. I hire new nuggets for training and begin working with a new, far more dangerous abnormality. Then suddenly everything changes. Layouts, abnormalities, employee names, all different. Was everything before this a dream? A past life? Yet somehow the ego gear and codex remains. This time I don't unlock training, but instead safety. My abnormalities now include fairies, a tiny bird, a burnt girl, some samurai armor, living static. In safety, a he level, Snow Queen, surprisingly easy to handle. The day ends without incident. Day 12. Angela opens with another one of her egotistical rants, criticising the other Sephirot as flawed, but not her, never her. We finally meet Netzach, head of safety. When he finally shows up, late, he's disinterested, sluggish. I say nothing, respecting his request to keep things brief. Then surprisingly, he admits he hates his job. Something up until now everyone has been too afraid to admit, myself included. He'd quit if he could, but as an AI, he can't. This was really odd. You wouldn't expect an AI to be able to like or dislike their jobs, but the rest of the conversation is even stranger. Netzach tells us he doesn't even remember ending up at the place, but why should he? While I ponder on all my questions, I get on with work. On the bright side, the training team is back open, giving us access to 2 new departments at once. While I have this odd memory of filling each department with as many nuggets as possible, I also remember that being unnecessary and hard to manage, so I staff it lightly, just 1 well-trained nugget per department, quality over quantity. The new abnormality is fascinating. Der Freischütz? A he level that prefers repression work and offers a unique request mechanic. For a chunk of energy, it fires a magic bullet from one side of the building to the other, piercing all in its path. The weapon it produces is also WoW grade, devastatingly effective. Just like the abnormality, bullets fired from this weapon will pass through anything and everything. Day 13. B reaches out once again. The first truth, do not trust Angela. AI have learned to lie. To help us, B installs a patch on our monitoring system. Now, if Angela lies, our screen will flash red. We choose to continue expanding training. Educational manuals now boost employee growth rates. During this expansion, we meet our first WoW level abnormality, a mysterious woman who bestows a powerful blessing. Unfortunately, blessed employees can no longer work. Despite her appearance, she's actually really easy to work with. Day 14. Time to test B's lie detector. I ask Angela, would you ever harm me? She says no. To my surprise, our monitor flashes red. Of course I say nothing. After all, who's to say that I can trust B? I head over from my meeting with Hod, but Angela tags along. Hod wants to start a counselling program to help with employee sanity. A great idea, I thought. Angela, however, calls it a distraction and shuts it down. Apparently, Hod's been distributing enkephalin as a drug. She claims it's a good coping mechanism, but the damage it does is serious. And it's not just the clerks, Netzach too. We expand the safety today. Our new abnormality is a musical ballerina statue. Mostly harmless. Mostly. Meanwhile, we continue to learn about our WoW abnormality, now identified as the Night of Despair. Day 15. While I'm trying to enjoy my morning coffee, Angela approaches me with a warning about a rodent in the facility. I assume she's speaking in code. She's angry, paranoid even. Has she discovered our contact with B? Either she's telling the truth now, or the lie detector patch that B installed has been removed. Suspicious timing. This morning I'm scheduled for a meeting with the safety team, and so I check on Netzach. He rambles about closing his eyes and seeing another world, a better world. Could this be the same thing I experience when the facility shifts, when everything resets? It's as if there are past memories that are my own, but at the same time, there's someone else's. Netzach asks for some beer, saying if we're gonna die, might as well do it wasted. Knowing my every move is watched, I tell him I can't do something like that. And sure enough, Angela shows up right on cue. Before things turn south, I decide to start my day's work. Today's new abnormality, Void Dream, a test level that puts workers to sleep. Could be worse. Day 16, B returns. The second truth. Lobotomy Corporation doesn't exist just to produce energy. That's only half the story. He also tells us that I wasn't hired for merit. There's another, darker reason. Despite trying to understand what everyone's telling me, they're all speaking in some sort of code, as if this whole thing is one orchestrated plot just for me, as if I'm supposed to figure it out by myself. I tried to meet with Netzach, but again, he's not around. Hod claims he has a cold, but Yesod says the truth is that he's high on enkephalin. Still, he eventually arrives at work, slurred and dazed. Says working here is hell. He just wants to escape. We meet a new He-level abnormality, all-round helper. Creepy but cooperative. Also a magical girl. That sounds promising. Day 17. Angela tries to level with me. She admits she hasn't earned my trust, but she knows I've been talking to B. Her words are a double-edged sword. She knows about B and says we chose to listen to him, to believe him, when instead we could have just focused on our own work. As the days go on, the conversations with Angela get increasingly uncomfortable. Any day now I'm worried she's going to turn on me, so I rush over to my meeting instead. She's mid-conversation with Netzach. He's asking for more enkephalin. She resists until her own employees' voices can be heard in the distance. Behind her back they voice their disdain. We hear them say that Hod doesn't care. She just pretends to. She gives in and takes some enkephalin herself. Counselling purposes, she claims, before turning to me and asks, why does everyone hate me? She claims the other Sephirot don't care about their teams, but she does. She really does. For whatever reason, watching this AI struggle pains me more than I care to admit, so I take myself off to work to try and forget about it. Work-wise, we upgrade the safety department. Sanity restoring gas, now that is a welcome addition. The magical girl breaks out repeatedly. Eventually, we learn her name, the Queen of Hatred, another WoW level terror. Day 18. B reaches out one final time. The third truth. We don't know. He says it's something we must learn ourselves. Thanks, I guess. No Sephirot meetings, just another quiet day. We received a new tool abnormality, but otherwise it's business as usual. Day 19. Angela talks about a legendary AI that was feared by the company. One of the people who dreaded the AI started to spread malicious rumours, but the AI was good, so waited. Especially because they were friends with the ones spreading the rumours. However, that person crossed the line. The AI made the decision that no one could ever see that person again, and while saddened by this, there was no regret. The AI erased them from existence. It was clear that the AI was Angela, and the message, well, it's a threat, dressed as a parable. She joins me on a walk to Netzach's office. We find a childlike AI waiting, Sephirot. They're here to complain about Netzach's dereliction of duty. Angela, surprisingly, seems more annoyed by Sephirot than Netzach. Sephirot suggests replacing Netzach, a process of sorts perhaps used to reset the AI to factory settings. Angela calmly, but forcefully, shuts the idea down. Apparently Netzach's failure is his role. It's all part of the script, a performance. But for who? To what end? No new abnormalities today, just a plain old day. Day 20. I woke up feeling like I was in somebody else's body today. This wasn't the first time it had happened. Another fractured memory. All of a sudden the abnormalities had all shifted. New ones were taking the stage. Angela resumes her story from the previous morning. The AI in her tale didn't cry after their act of vengeance. Not because they lacked remorse, in her own words they felt horrible for what they did, but because they were a machine. And ultimately, a machine is a machine. Today is strangely peaceful. The new abnormalities seemed oddly familiar to me, as if I'd already learned the knowledge required to work with them. There are also some minor layout changes, but nothing major. I'm getting used to the resets. They almost feel routine. Act 3. Deepening Mysteries. Day 21. The start of a new chapter. A new layered facility has opened up, new departments to manage, new abnormalities to monitor, and the pressure is mounting. We officially meet the pair of childlike AIs, both named Sephirot. They run the central command. Their introduction is cheerful, curious, and far more energetic than the other Sephirot. It's almost disarming. The workload, however, is heavier now. More micromanagement, more chaos, but the new abnormalities today are manageable. It's a long day, but a quiet one. Day 22. A letter from A greets me on my desk, praising my work. In the letter he says Angela is a capable assistant, but he cannot meet us currently as he's away on a long journey. But I don't buy it. Something doesn't feel right.
Though to be fair, nothing's felt right about any of this so far.
I finally get a proper meeting with the Sephirot twins. The girl is sharp-tongued and shows a dislike of the upper Sephirot. She scowls at Netzach when he drops off his report. The boy, by contrast, is warm and laid back. He even enjoys Netzach's company. Our strange new abnormality is called Plague Doctor, just a Zayn level. When worked with, he blesses employees, boosting their success rates. But those blessed can't work with him again, not just for the day they were blessed, but ever. Oddly, no ego gear available. Even stranger, unlocking his escape information costs 1 million boxes, a task that by all means is literally impossible. Something's off about this one, but I will admit I do really appreciate the blessing. Day 23. Angela explains that the Lobotomy Corporation is one of the wings of the world. There are 26 wings, and they are considered to be the most powerful conglomerates, governing the city's districts. They control practically everything.
Each wing has its own singularity, a piece of technology or an ability that reshapes the world, something that allows them to retain control.
Angela claims that the singularities were meant to make life better for humanity, to bring back hope. But her tone is defensive. Is she trying to convince me? Or herself? While we still have meetings with the upper Sephirot from time to time, most mornings are now with the Sephirot twins. They reminisce about a bet they once made. Could a manager save an employee with only 5% sanity left? The girl bet no. The boy bet yes. The managers all failed, one by one. But the boy stayed ever optimistic, always betting yes. Eventually the game just lost its fun for the girl.
Despite their young age, their memories are never happy. Yet they smile through them anyway. It's kind of creepy, to be honest.
Work was pretty interesting today. Upon further examination, Plague Doctor has moved along with another containment cell. A new jelly-like creature has taken its place. Introducing Melting Love, my first Aleph level abnormality. This one didn't take long to cause problems, spreading their jelly onto our workers, poisoning them until eventually reforming them into more jelly-like creatures. Also joining the roster, Blue Star, another Aleph. This one is thankfully more cooperative. Day 24. There's a cactus on my desk today, and I thought to myself, wow, what a great way to start the day. Angela, however, scoffs at it. No matter, I like it. Maybe it will bloom, even here. Today's meeting was quite a bit different. The girl Sephirot was away, and it was just me and the boy Sephirot, who wanted to talk. He asked if I've noticed that emotions bleed through the Sephirot. Anger, sorrow, joy. He wants to know why they feel these things. They're just machines, right? He insists the emotions aren't theirs, they belong to someone else. There's something inside them. Before I can dig deeper, the girl Sephirot and Angela arrive. They tell me that he's broken. It's time to take him to storage. The girl Sephirot looks solemn, like she's saying goodbye. But the boy Sephirot says he knows the place, making the whole process a little easier. The workday ends without incident, a miracle given how unstable things are. Day 25.
I remember this day well, as it's when some of the pieces of the puzzle began fitting together.
Angela talks to us about the human mind, its thoughts and its memories. She says the Lobotomy Corporation experimented on people, and that over time a shape began to form. Energy wasn't tied to their abilities or their jobs and their strengths, just raw emotion.
It sounds eerily similar to how she describes abnormalities, which is when a horrifying thought occurs to me. Were abnormalities once human?
Angela must have realised I was pondering on what she had said, because she snaps me back into the room before I can ask any more questions. She cuts in with a casual question of her own. Do I want to meet A?
Of course I do, I tell her, but in truth I was wondering if A's even real, if he's even alive. After all, Angela begins with A. What if she's the one behind all of this?
She escorts me to the storage. There she gloats about her own complexity. She is the most human-like of the Sephirot, the best AI ever made. Yes, we know, you tell us almost daily. Then, without warning, a massive pillar crushes the defective Sephirot. Blood, metal, gore, bits of humans melding in with the metal. It appears he might have been right. There is something or someone inside of him. The new replacement steps out immediately after. Their cycle begins anew. Apparently this cycle is quite common, though as time goes on, it gets shorter and shorter. While it's not easy work, we are getting used to the struggles of managing two large sections with the addition of the LF abnormalities. So once again, no casualties. Day 26. Angela tells a story about a woman who believed the world could be saved. She claimed we were headed for an inescapable disaster, that we were losing something important without even realising it. Over time there were others that joined her cause. A decision was made. Angela doesn't say what it is though. Of course she doesn't. Today we open up a new department, and in fact I get to choose between welfare, led by Chesed, and disciplinary, led by Gabura. I immediately picked disciplinary. Not for any personal reasons, no, just I feel like discipline would be really useful. That's it. Sadly, no time for introductions today. It was all work and no play. So we worked super fast to get it all done as quickly as we could. Day 27. Angela finally reveals the truth. A is dead. On a bright sunny day with clear skies, he died. She helped kill him. A apparently has always been here, watching over us, but in typical Angela fashion she doesn't elaborate further. Instead she begins talking about the Sephirot, how to question why they must bear their pains. They're machines and should only exist as a tool, a statement that Angela clearly resents. She admits that not even she could answer that particular question. The only person who could know is A. So she begins a memory synchronization on us before sending us to do our daily tasks and go and meet Gabura. She introduces herself as the head of disciplinary, the best department when it comes to combat. She is blunt and loathes abnormalities, saying that they can't be destroyed, only suppressed. And since they live forever and can feel pain, her job is to make them suffer. She tasks me with suppressing 5 He-level abnormalities, her first test. For the most part the day went fine, but it sadly ended in disaster. Melting love devours Elena, who was wearing my brand new Blue Star Ego gear. Typical. Day 28. The dreams begin. But unlike any dreams I've had before, they seem so real, as if there's too much detail for a mere dream. I see a silhouette of a woman standing in sunlight. She speaks like Angela, even resembles her in a way. She begins talking about helping people, about not needing wings to reach the sky, just a tall tree to grow. I don't respond, just listen and close my eyes, basking in the sunlight's warmth. Soon enough I'm back at work. Gabura praises my suppression task, but she says it was too easy. She starts giving tips, but Chesed interrupts, saying that her suppression plans are too aggressive. Though she's clearly not impressed by him, and so Chesed retreats quickly. Probably wise. We accept a new mission, suppress WoW level abnormalities. Thankfully we've now got access to an elite squad called the Rabbits. They'll come in handy. New LF, the silent orchestra. It's not great. Constantly escaping to put on a show and failing to stop in time depletes our entire facility's energy generation for the day. And just when things couldn't get worse, Plague Doctor finishes his blessing spree. The result? A towering angel followed by a cult made out of my employees. Somewhere in my array of memories is a version of me that beat this fight, but I was not successful. Day 29, another dream. The same woman. She speaks of experiments, how everyone's subconsciously straight to death. Everyone is forcibly locking away their own light and potential, but she's devised some sort of treatment for the soul, something that will bring people in. When I wake, welfare is unlocked. I don't remember doing that. White Knight is gone, as well as all the other abnormalities I grew accustomed to. Chesed notices my confusion, but brushes it off. He wants to drink his coffee in peace. Sadly, employees arrive with urgent reports. He handles it gracefully. He's extremely kind and forgiving on the matter. It's a nice change, to be honest, but with that, we head off to our desk to get some work done. Chesed left us with the challenge: collect a daily energy quota within a strict time limit. Tough, but manageable. Meanwhile, I focus on prepping for our real challenge, suppressing 5 wows and handling a dusk level ordeal. The required training for this is going to take a while, several days at least. Day 30. More dreams. Again, it's the same woman with the same light in the same grass, even the same talk of trees, seeds and lights. It must all mean something, but I can't quite put the pieces together. She says she would want to be a person with a beautiful voice, like the wisest person in the world. Angela? Is that you? No, it can't be, but perhaps it's the original, the one Angela got her likeness from. The dream ends with an image, a vial of glowing medicine, a seed of sorts, extracted from the human subconsciousness. Back to work. We meet the army in pink. Despite being labelled as a Zayan, their energy output is LF tier. When they break out, they scatter miniature LF entities across the entire facility. Fun. We fail to meet our suppression goals, but we do hit the energy quota. Act 4. Truth Revealed. Day 31. This marks the beginning of the 4th act in our tale, the moment where some of the truths were revealed and Angela stopped pretending. LF level abnormalities have become increasingly common, Sephirot's missions are moving along nicely, but the cracks that began forming in the previous acts have opened up into gaping chasms. Agony and rage mixed, blending together in the mist. A giant beam of red light burns a picture into my retinas. Inside the facility is a silhouette of B, asking if we're researching machines now. He wishes to help us, saying he'd make a serviceport assistant, but our reluctance to answer makes him question if we're okay. Although this feels like another one of the dreams we've been having lately, Angela appears before me. While our memories are still a bit hazy, she seems to be fully aware of the situation. The truth is, we were not actually okay. At all. Let us start anew. The corporation that mourns her. That woman we've been seeing in our dreams, the one who Angela is clearly based on. The truth is, she must be dead, and perhaps her death is a catalyst of everything that's happening here, everything that's happened to us. She must be what created the version of A that was capable of building all of this. Our meeting with Chesed went well. He seems delighted with our recent success on his timed missions, though tells us not to overdo it, as if we have a choice. He tells us not to invest our emotions and effort into such drivel, but we tell him that we're going to ignore that comment, which seems to amuse him. He's curious how long that fire will last in a place like this. We began working harder on training, so we have a facility filled with highly trained employees, each equipped with WoW or Aleph level gear, so tomorrow we'll take on the WoW abnormality suppressions as requested by Gebura. Day 32. Angela's meeting with us in the mornings have taken a more dark turn. All we seem to talk about now is the death of humanity as a species. Whether or not it's guilt or just desperation to justify the work that takes place here, I don't know. She talks a lot about A, and someone she refers to as her. Apparently there was a change in A, from a healer to a creator, as he clings onto anything he could, reminding himself of the promises he made her. Chesed seems to be in a down mood today. An abnormality escaped and took out a large amount of his team. He shows us a flashback of a conversation between him and Angela. He spent the whole night researching a more efficient method to improve the welfare of the employees, though Angela dismisses his request. The conversation continues into her office. Chesed confronts her on a containment lock failure, a unit that only Angela could have authority over. Angela says she knew he'd figured out eventually, but a little quicker than she anticipated. Due to the efficiency in Chesed's work, his employee death counts are too low. Apparently, abnormalities create more energy through killing people. She then insists Chesed drink a warm cup of coffee and drop the subject. This was clearly the turning point for Chesed, the catalyst for his cracks. With all the planning and prepping in motion, it's time to suppress the WoW abnormalities. We piled everyone outside of Judgment Bird's container and purposely did bad work with it until it broke free. In an instant, everyone stepped up and suppressed the bird. Thankfully, Gebura didn't say we had to suppress different WoW level abnormalities, so we just suppressed Judgment Bird again and again until the day was over, with thankfully no casualties. Day 33. The dreams intensify. Another shadowy figure stands before me, questioning why I never met one of my creations. The man is telling me to name the machine before I wake up. My head is banging, as if someone was forcing their way in. New memories of conversations with the Sephirot I swear I hadn't had, but sure enough our facilities were well improved, and the Sephirot are now taking on a new, more robotic form. In these memories were painful conversations with Malkuth, Yesod, Hod, Netzach and Tifroth, who all took their turns in sharing a past with me, their real past, not this AI form they've taken on. Each of them with a sad backstory, causing their cracks to finally spew open. The only way to save them was to suppress their cause, but to do that I had to embrace their pasts. Malkuth confessed about taking part in some experiments that had been going on here, the result of which left her clawing and scraping at the floor, losing her fingernails in the process. According to her, without us she would never have known the feeling of true helplessness. We see another memory of A's, talking about someone called Elijah, who took some of the cogito that was being manufactured at Lobotomy Corporation, though sadly it wasn't ready for human use. Elijah begs us to kill her, but we can only ignore her. Yesod talks about his pains and how none of the Sephirot deserve to feel what they do, before referring to us as one of the architects responsible for his creation. Another distant memory appears before us, this time of someone called Gabriel. Though seemingly strong-willed on the outside, his traumas were festering on the inside, causing him to scratch away his skin and begin covering himself up. We see him tied down to a metal frame, forced to undergo a medical examination. Fortunately or unfortunately there was no infection present, only the one building in his mind. Hod was now using enkephalin to deal with her stress. She takes the training meeting with her staff, but she's unable to get her words out as the staff keep interrupting her, shouting at her and how she doesn't really care. While she seems defeated, she tries to put on a strong appearance, saying how she's doing all of this for them, before even her cracks open up, as she snaps, saying if it wasn't for her, they'd all be dead. We see A talk about Michelle's death, though it's seemingly not a good time as the experiment was just getting traction. Michelle was the youngest employee, making her an easy target. It seems her death caused a lot of problems for the wings and the head, something even she didn't expect. Though he finishes it off by saying, "If we meet again in hell, will I finally be able to forgive you?" Giving us a good insight into the kind of person A was. Netzach hasn't been exactly secretive about wanting to end everything, so at first he doesn't seem any more down than he usually is, but the realization that death is not an option for him seems to break him. We're shown visions of a person who looks very similar to Netzach lying in a hospital bed. They seem to be undergoing some of the experiments we've seen and heard so much about, something about cogito, though I still don't know what it all means. What a male Sephirot had already been struggling, it was the young girl who was cracking this time. Though they're about the same age, they look nothing alike, despite calling each other brother and sister. It seems they've been forced from their old home, and while the young girl wants to go back, her brother says that's not possible, and that they must make this place their new home. Despite their young age, they too are participating in the weird experiments. While it may seem like they're having a negative effect on the boy named Enoch, in reality his issues are much deeper than an experiment. He seems lost, as if stuck living in his own head with his own thoughts. We cut to Angela naming the twins in their new robotic form and welcoming them to the company. We see the two of them bonding and forming a tight relationship with one another, but slowly over time the nature of Enoch spills through into the male Sephirot. The female Sephirot appears to hold a lot of resentment towards us, before showing us a memory of her on the floor crying out that we should have been the one to die, which makes me believe that these experiments killed Enoch, though who was she crying out loud should have died instead. It's the same woman we've been seeing again and again. Each of these Sephirot appear to have a human counterpart, each with a connection to A and a woman named Carmen. Could she be the shadowy figure we've dreamt so much about, the one we believe Angela was modelled after? She seems to be the one who started, or at least inspired, the cogito experiments we've heard so much about, as well as some sort of seed that has connections to light. These suppressions caused the department to be partially taken offline. In place of my nuggets was a giant machine demanding energy. Malkuth was up first, as she was the easiest. She decided to hide the work information on abnormalities, as well as changing what work type we were actually performing. Something that could be dangerous depending on who we work with, but this wasn't tricky at all and we managed to suppress her easily. The second suppression was Yesod's, who decided to test our memory by blurring and pixelating our monitors. Thankfully I paid a lot of attention when working with these abnormalities, so I know what work is best for all of them. Another suppression fended off easily. Hod was the Sephirot I felt the most sorry for. Whether she truly cared for employees or if it was a facade, I don't fully know. But to see her break like this was hard, so I had to rescue her. It was thanks to this hurt that the entire staff on call today underperformed. It was as if all their training had just gone out the window, but we pushed on and successfully suppressed her. Netzach's suppression required a bit more precision. We couldn't send our workers to do hard tasks without giving it a second thought. The result of his meltdown caused all the healing systems to be taken offline. Any damage suffered while working with the abnormalities remained, but through careful planning we overcame one of our biggest struggles yet. Lastly was Sephirot, who we see standing on a pile of old, broken Sephirot. All the rewards we received from suppressing the other Sephirot had been removed. Any container could now be affected by the meltdowns, and what's worse is we had to reach and surpass a midnight ordeal. Our plan was just to work through it. We weren't ready to face such a foe that this would have presented, and so through methodical work we persevered. Now would be a really good time to bring out the champagne and share it around. Fantastic work everybody. This was a long and tiring day, but despite finishing our mission with Gebura, she decides not to meet with us. Instead she now just requests that we suppress 3 different Aleph abnormalities in one day. That's something we're going to have to work towards. Day 34. The woman I keep seeing in my dreams is back, lying down on some grass looking up at me, telling me I've become something, and it's time to fade away. She's replaced by another girl, this time a silhouette. She reaches out and asks us to kill her. Besides Gebura's request, there's not a whole lot for us to do besides collecting our daily energy, and sadly we're not ready to take on the LFs. Day 35. Angela says that our memory synchronization has finished, and now it's time to reveal the truth. We are a prisoner, imprisoned by no one but ourselves. Angela's job is to guide us, and she says she's quite tired of it. Apparently we've been through the cycle before, many times, which would explain why I have memories of managing the facility in different ways. To finish off our meeting, Angela welcomes us back to our own company, as we are A. Day 36. Today was spent largely climatizing to the news, and despite Angela being sick of looking after us, she does allow us to ask questions about what's happening outside, how many cycles have we gone through, and what's going to happen moving forwards. To which she says that the world hasn't changed, We've done more cycles than it's worth to quantify, and sadly for our final question, she cannot help us. Otherwise everything we've done here would lose its meaning. Day 37. While Angela refers to us as A, she also says she believes we become different entities, as we have walked different paths. Despite that, it's important for us to witness this place through A's eyes, but after seeing the memories of the other Sephirot, I'm not sure I want to do that. It was time to go deeper into this prison, deeper than we'd ever been before. It was time to visit the lower section and meet Bina. It's clear our past together was not a good one, as for whatever reason we locked her down here, though she claims she's not mad with us. It's clear the time spent alone has had some adverse effects on her as she begins talking about some rivers, but I believe it's a metaphor for suggesting how everything washes downstream, where all the residue just piles up. She claims to have faced many wells and drawn water every day, but the level never lowers. We ask her questions about the wells and what she means by drawing water, and she tells us it was us who made the bucket that pulls the water from the well, before tasking us to extract some ego gear. Day 38. Our journey is reaching its final push, and so far we've reached our energy quota without missing a single day, even if apparently the energy isn't going anywhere, as the pipelines that transmit the energy haven't worked in a long time. Angela tells us not to be upset, as it was not all for nothing. During the meeting with Bina, we got a little bit distracted, as she notices we're mesmerised by the headstones. Apparently she's been gardening for a long time, as that was all there was to do, though her cryptic messages fall short and she picks up on that, changing the subject. She introduces an employee called Nathan, who accidentally took a peek into the well when extracting ego. While they managed to sedate him with enkephalin, once one looks through the crack, they can never return to the world they belong to. Bina asks Nathan to describe what he saw, but no matter how hard he tries, he is unable, before passing out. Bina says that she can retain her sanity thanks to her mechanical body, but asks if we forgot that she originated from a human mind, just as we'd seen in the other Sephirot. Unfortunately, our attempts at suppressing the Aleph abnormalities is still out of reach, so instead we focus on extracting ego, as Bina has requested. Day 39. Angela is once again helping bring us up to speed. She said for a long time she questioned her existence until we handed her a script. The script whose lines we've been fed from day one. But she wonders if the script is missing its finale and believes it'd be appropriate for her to conclude her own ending as she sees fit, before she leaves us to wonder whether or not that dialogue was part of the script or not. Bina informs us that abnormalities can't die, no matter how badly you destroy them. This is something Gabura has already said to us in the past, which interestingly enough is what Bina claims drove her mad. We're told tales of how Gabura wielded ego herself, and by the sounds of it was incredibly skilled with it, wielding it to a potential never seen before. Apparently ego is so powerful that just by holding it you know how to use it, but no one has ever drawn out their true potential before, apart from the Red Mist. Day 40. This was the last meeting with Bina for a while, as we've finished all the tasks she's left us. Although we've had our memories restored, there are still parts that feel fuzzy. Our life was apparently full of tragedy, and we were left with a broken heart. Bina tells us that she was one of the thieves that robbed us. She was once on top of the world, but due to an unexpected encounter with the Red Mist, she ended up down here, where we inflicted just as much suffering upon her as she did to us. Although she claims not to be angry with us, she does ask if we truly believe that this was Carmen's ideals. Her death truly did spark a catalyst for everything. Out of her we made the bucket that we sent down to the wells of the people. At first, only the person who owned their well could draw water from it, but thanks to us, now anyone could draw from it. By taking someone's water and injecting into someone else, we begin seeing them transform into ordeals and abnormalities. While it was Bina's job to extract them, creating them was Carmen's. To end this chapter, we finally decided to take on the abnormality suppression. Though we were successful, clearly I was not, as when I woke on day 41, once again new memories came to the surface. Clearly this was not the final reset. Act 5. Breaking the cycle. Day 41. The beginning of the end. My memories have returned, this time showing the breakdown and suppression of Gabura, Chesed, Bina, and somebody named Hokma, who I don't even remember meeting. Chesed's story was a hard pill to swallow. Like Hod, he only wanted to do right by his employees, but in a facility where death fuels production, his ideals were inevitably pushed aside. His role was to manage deterrence levels, but ultimately he followed Angela's orders. Being responsible for so many deaths broke him. His real name was Daniel, a refined man, dressed too formally for the job he had to perform. We see a silhouette of Bina, working directly for the head, ordering Daniel to release abnormalities. He wants to resist, but fear paralyzes him. He admits it, he blames her, yet deep down he knows he let it happen. The guilt became unbearable. We'll suppress your core, Chesed. I promise you peace. Because deterrence was lowered by Angela's command, Gabira and her team are forced to act. She gives a rallying cry, telling her team to shed cowardice and embrace rage. But the fight overwhelms her. Even after grievous injuries, she keeps going. Bina, cold and cruel, belittles her, calling her child throwing a tantrum. In her vision, Gabira meets Angela and insists she'll make up for the lack of manpower. She'll wield ego herself. We see Bina again, taunting Gabira over the loss of her arm. But there's a hint of admiration. Gabira thwarted her plans, took out 2 claws, and stopped the rampaging monsters. Gabira, the Red Mist, was once powerful enough to stand against the claws and even the head. Michelle's betrayal brought the claws to us, and their method was simple. Unleash the abnormalities. Gabira fought to protect us, losing an eye and an arm, suffering wounds she'd never recover from. She saved B and me. Her suppression would be our greatest challenge yet. Bina's cryptic talk of a bucket continues. She says it was formed by dividing Carmen's body and extracting cogito, the fluid of life and death. At first we could only collect drops, now it flows endlessly, a bottomless spring. We finally see it, but only as much as we can bear. We're still not qualified to glimpse at the depths. Then Bina tells us her story. Captured alive and tortured after being impaled by Gabira's weapon, her brain, ripped from her body, was placed inside a machine, and we were the ones who did it. The final Sephirot is Hokmah, the guardian of time. At first we're sitting by the sea, speaking with B, but it fades into Hokmah. My dear friend, how did you end up like this? His floor is awash in white, designed like heaven. A gift, he says. His story is tragic like the others. He tells me not to carry the guilt. We weren't trying to live forever, we were just trying to cure a disease. The disease was humanity itself. He speaks of an employee, Anya, hired despite having no redeeming qualities. 10 years passed, her family died, and she now lies asleep. Hokmah wakes us to show us something. We're told to erase her, and we do. But this isn't the first time she's died. Like everything here, it's a cycle. Endless. Hokmah gives us the final truth. Angela is the finest AI ever created. By us. She was designed in Carmen's image, and after Carmen's death, we preserved her body and attempted to recreate her spirit. But Angela is not Carmen, and never will be. Hokmah begs us to turn back. We refuse. He spirals. Suppression is inevitable. Chesed takes control of the facility, increasing the damage from certain abnormalities. Eventually, all 4 damage types spike, but we're prepared. We hit meltdown level 8 without issue. Hokmah then manipulates time, forcing us to think on the fly, and think faster. We're forced to hit cliff off level 10, and meet the energy quota while the scariest midnight ordeal attacks. We fight through it all, suppressing him with minimal losses. Gabira, the Red Mist, I will never forget you. Your suppression was the hardest I've ever faced. No matter my strategy, no matter how many times I tried, you won. I couldn't beat you with my nuggets, no matter how well trained. If I couldn't do it, the abnormalities would have to do it for me. The Shelter and the Aleph level monsters. I'm sorry it had to be this way. You were too good. The only one truly worthy of wielding ego. Bina, I never loved you as I did Gabira. You were a challenge, but you had one fatal flaw. Arrogance. You tried to walk freely through my facility, lauding your presence like one close to the head. That was your mistake. I locked you down with the rabbit team, and while they kept you busy, my nuggets managed the meltdowns. One final sacrifice to rewind time, cancelling out your second phase. Then we put you down for good. With all Sephirot suppressed, we're now immune to meltdowns. Our gear remains intact even if an employee dies. We're as prepared as we'll ever be. Now it's time to push forward. Day 42. Angela and I reflect on our first day together. It's almost pleasant. I remember how scared I was, how unfamiliar everything felt. She tells us about the gaps in the world, small fractures where strange beings crawl into our world. She talks of a place called the Black Forest. We'd glimpsed at it before when suppressing the apocalypse bird, but the energy gathered through this crack was never enough. Angela finally reveals what our singularity is. It's not energy extraction, it's the creation of abnormalities. They're part of the seed, a word Carmen used a lot. And what do we do with the seed? We plant it, and we hope. Day 43. Angela grumbles again about the other Sephirot, claiming superiority. but beneath her words I sense hope. Maybe this really is the final cycle. It's clear Angela believes it is. Day 44. I was right. She does believe this is the last cycle. She tells us to push on, keep collecting energy, even though it's never leaving this place. I decided to finally ask her what her goal was, and she did not seem impressed by this at all. After all this time, she says, but I guess she's right. We should have asked sooner. What she wants, truly wants, is just to end the script, maybe even to live. After all this time, I still forget she's an AI. She feels so human. Day 45. Apparently, this is the end of the road. There's no turning back now. Goodbye, Angela. I never knew if I could trust you, but this ending, it's bittersweet. She says she's enjoyed her time with us, not just the 45 days we can remember, but all of it. What I would do to get all my memories back. She tells us to go, as now it's time to descend. Time to meet the last of the Sephirot. Act 6. The end. And the beginning. Day 46. The beginning of the end. Instead of my morning talks with Angela, I'm greeted by an old man. As with most people that inhabit this facility, the man speaks in riddles, but his words hint at something deeper. He is us, a version of us. He recreated our office to make us feel comfortable, but it feels hollow, empty, a reflection of our heart. Normally there would be chaos, books and clutter, evidence of her, Carmen, but we couldn't bring ourselves to recreate the mess. Outside 10 years have passed, inside 10,000. Trapped in a time loop held together by Time Track's technology, near immortality, but no man can keep their sanity in Lobotomy Corporation. He wants us to rest because the road ahead, it's brutal. We have trained relentlessly for this moment. We are ready. Our trial begins. Suppress a white midnight ordeal. The day starts quietly, but instead of ordeals, fixes invade. Dangerous professionals marked by colour. With careful planning and precision, we eliminate all of them. Then, the claw appears. Not knowing what to expect, we set the rabbits on it, only for them to single-handedly deal with the white midnight. Day 47. The office is now melting, dripping and decaying. The old man appears again. This time he mocks us, he calls us incomplete. He says his name is Abel, the rage within us, a piece of us, a shattered mirror. He was the first to access the well of humanity. While only a handful of people could feel its presence, Carmen was completely sure of its existence. Through her we learned to siphon it, drop by drop. We believed that everybody had a bucket that they could draw from their own well. We see a recording. It's B, Benjamin. It's the rest of his final tape, the final truth he once tried to tell us. In his recording he tried to leave with us, but Angela stopped him. She tells him it's nothing personal before ending his life. Abel begins to show his own cracks, questioning us. Who will pay for their sacrifices? Do you even know what you've forgotten? But he doesn't understand. We've walked through the same fire. We've helped the Sephirot confront their pasts and conquer them. And through them we will break down his walls, one by one. These weren't our answers. They were the answers that the Sephirot knew the version of us had to hear. We give him our answers. The will to stand up straight. The rationality to maintain discretion. The hope to be a better person. And the fearlessness to keep on living. He finally steps aside, but the day doesn't. This was the facility's hardest challenge yet. I threw everything I had at this day, but it was no good. Nothing I did worked. I was out of hope. And just as I was about to give up, I remembered the stories of all those affected because of me. Thinking back on our journey and the Sephirot, I pushed through. It worked. The motivation to push through allowed us to survive, and from here it was going to be smooth sailing to the finish line. Day 48. Abel is gone. Now a rougher man appears, unkempt with tired eyes. His name is Abram. He speaks of 2 doors, the ones that should have remained closed. But we didn't come all this way to leave doors unopened, and so we open them. Carmen is heard asking A if she can enter the room. We open the first door and we see the start of everything. She lays out her hypothesis in front of us, and we were unable to reject her proposal. We see the others, our future Sephirot, struggling to perfect the experiment. And then the tipping point. Enoch's death. Sephirot's haunting voice returns. It should have been you. We call through the bathroom door, but there's no response. We open the second door. To see Carmen lying in a tub, eyes closed, bleeding out. Abram says we've come to the right place, as this is where she sleeps now. We see her again, on the grass, begging us to finish what she started. Suddenly her eyes open, and she once again tells us to fade away. We see what became of her. Not the vibrant woman from before, but a brain in a tank, tendrils spreading outwards, forming her own tree. This is the bucket created from Carmen's sacrifice, an endless production of cogito. Abram insists she's still alive, that she saw every path that we walked. He says the reason he named himself Abram was to seek atonement for his sins. But again, we remember the words of the Sephirot, the expectation for the meaning of existence, the courage to protect, and the faithfulness and trust. He asks us if we can open the final door, and we do. Today's challenge is suppress Gebura, again, only this time under the influence of multiple Sephirot suppressions. It's brutal. We complete our work until she appears, and then we hide in the shelter until it's over. Day 49. Abel and Abram are now gone. In their place, Adam, radiant and glowing. He holds nothing but contempt for the wings and the head. Their control is born from the singularities they hoard, but we found something more, the light within every person. Adam believes that abnormalities are not abnormal, they are our truer selves. He wishes to release Carmen's light into the world, to trigger the transformation, to cure humanity's disease. Bina's words stop him in his tracks, the eye facing the fear, breaking the cycle. But he's not shaken for long. He insists that people need someone like us. We remember Hokma's words, the eye embracing the past, building the future. It's time. We suppress Bina again. This time she has help, Hokma. Time is on their side. We need to think fast and be decisive in our decisions. We unleash the rabbit team to hold it down and buy us time to manage the chaos. Phase 2 hits. One final sacrifice to rewind time. Now for the final push, where again the rabbits deliver. Phase 3 ends, we survive. One final day before we can close the curtains on Lobotomy Corporation, once and for all. Day 50. The final fragment of A greets us. He admits it, he wasn't the right man for the job. He bent to the wing's will, watched his friends suffer, all for Carmen's dream. But now the Seed of Light project ends here. It's time to do what we've always done, manage the abnormalities. No meltdowns, no ordeals, just collect energy. As we reach certain milestones, the facility rotates until we're finally fully upside down. As we gather the final trickle of energy, Punishing Bird breaks free and pecks at us relentlessly, completely spoiling the mood. Go away, you stupid bird! You've been the bane of my life throughout this entire journey. Then it happens. A beam of light bursts from the facility, piercing the sky. Carmen's tree finally blooms. For 3 days the sky is bathed in that light. And this, my friends, is where our story ends. But where is Angela? We find her still in the control room watching the monitors. She speaks softly. The seeds of light were planted in every person in the city. Good work. Angela says this story is over, but she's not done. It's clear Angela had some hatred for A. The Sephirot had their endings. They got to see the light with A at the very end. But what about her? Where's Angela's ending? The truth is, she was never written one. She was designed to be a tool until the very end. A mimic of Carmen, nothing more. What's worse is Angela perceives time 100 times slower than us. She's been trapped here for over 1 million years. And now, she smiles. Carmen gave her the will to live, and once you get a taste for it, there's no going back. The light fades. For 4 days the world is covered in darkness. Humanity would come to call this the white nights and dark days. And while this is the end of our story, for Angela this place will be her new home, and it shall be called a library. The Library of Runa. For Angela, this was just the beginning. The library awaits.